Here is your checklist for week 7, and I'm going to explain the research assignment for the week. So, if you see on week 7, we've got some amazing research paper guidelines that you guys wrote in class today. If there are, well, there are lots of deadlines, so you might want to add those to your Google Calendar just to make sure you're aware. And so we decided as a class that we are going to turn in our pre-writing assignment by next week. And I'm going to open that up and go over that with you. And I'm also going to have you guys fill out together a team contract. This, I think, will just help you and your team set some guidelines for each other, just to kind of ensure that everybody pulls their weight equally and contributes equally to this project. So both of these things will be due in your folder by next Wednesday. And there's a video on how to complete pre-writing and brainstorming. That's actually going to be this video coupled with the checklist. Okay, so I'm going to probably just write tomorrow a mini quiz. No, I'm going to take that quiz out. Never mind. Forget that. So I want you guys to also look into this intro to MLA. Dana and Wei Ling and Ting came up with some good guidelines for you, but if you click here, this will just explain MLA further and kind of go over, because it's very technical and detailed. So if you want to kind of look into what this style actually entails, then take a look at these sources. This will help you next week when we go to the library to collect another source. So look at these links here. And because we're not reading this week, we're going to be organizing your writing first and foremost. If you are missing any work, this will be catch-up week. So I'm not going to accept any late summary responses after the end of this week. So if you're missing anything, if you're missing discussion posts, now would be the time to do it, because once we get started with the research paper, we're not going back. Okay? So if there is something you'd like for me to check, I will go ahead and do that probably this weekend. All right, so let's move on to the pre-writing. So first of all, you guys should have collected or opened a new folder, right? Your folder can be the name of your team. It looks like we have one called Team Cat. Is that yours? But anyways, team, for example, the one from class was Team Fingers. And then put your names too. Okay, those are my teammates. So it would be nice if you guys have your names there. And once you have your folder, make sure that you share it with me and with your teammates. So everybody should have this folder, right? So here's my email address. You know how to share with me and share with your teammates as well. So make sure everybody has that folder. You can also organize so that in your ESL 52 folder, your research folder lives. So I'm going to put that in there. This ESL 52, fall 2016. And so now when I log into my Google Drive, I'll click there and you'll see my research folder. That's just an organization tip for you. Okay. Now let's look at what this pre-writing assignment entails. Okay, so as a group, answer these questions. As we talked about, Pre-writing is the first step to the research process, and it involves organizing your ideas, brainstorming, coming up with some subtopics, thinking about the purpose of this paper and your audience. Okay? So the question, I will take you through this, the first few. The question is, what are some problems and solutions with American education? And then you are asked here to list the different essays that address this question. The problem is that this is a very broad question. So I want you guys to brainstorm some problems and some of the solutions that we've read about. And I mean, this is only going to be a 4 to 5 page paper, so you want to go in depth. So you're not going to be able to write about all of the problems and solutions in a 4 to 5 page paper. It would take probably hundreds of pages. So I want you guys, after you guys come up with a good list of problems and solutions, choose maybe 2 or 3 that you can focus on. Maybe 2 problems, 1 solution, maybe 1 big problem, 3 solutions, but you gotta narrow it down. And that's an important step in every research process. You start with a general question or a general idea for a topic. You come up with a question about it, and then you narrow down that question so that you can focus your research. So once you choose a few problems and solutions, then you're going to look at your focused research question or topic and write it down. What is the narrowed topic? So maybe the problem with the American educational model is it focuses too much on hard work. And some solutions to this problem are blah, 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 right? So here you'll put your narrowed down topic. Then list some potential subtopics. You guys came up with Zachariah's subtopics in his essay. So think of how you can organize your paper around different topics that will relate to your main general topic or your thesis. Then determine what the organization of this paper will be. So we already decided, we know it's going to be a problem solution paper, right? But as Fareed Zakaria did, he included some cause and effect, some compare and contrast. So think about some ways, some different kind of strategies you're going to use in your paper to organize your ideas. And then determine some information, more information that you're going to need to research, because we're going to the library next week and you're going to have to find another article about one of the problems or solutions so that we can collect more evidence. And it's always really important to consider the purpose of this paper. So Zachariah was writing his paper to convince his audience that something needs to be done. What is your purpose? Okay? And who are you intending this paper for? Okay, here's an error. This is from last semester. You can take out the food industry. Americans in general, educators, parents, children. Who in particular do you want to read this paper? Who do you want to convince? So after you have this pre-writing finished, I want you to save this in your folder. And to do so, when you click on this link on the Moodle, you can go to make a copy, right? And you can write your team name, Team Fingers, pre-writing. So make sure you give it a title with your team name and what the assignment is. Click OK. Then you can organize, you can start typing on it, and make sure you move it to your folder. So you want to move it into your research paper folder. It lives here. I'm going to put it in my research paper folder. This way, everyone who has the folder, all of your teammates can have this document in the folder, write on it, and I can see what you're doing. So just like you guys are doing with your essays in your personal folders, you'll do the same with these different steps of the research process. These documents will belong in your team folder, okay, instead of your individual folder. And then once you're finished with that, I want you to open up the team contract, and you can find that here. So if you click team contract, here is where you're going to write out your contract. So you're going to list down your names and your strengths. Remember, everybody has specific strengths. I want you to name what yours is in particular and how you're going to contribute to the group, so that your teammates can leverage your skills well. Jot down some goals. What do you want to accomplish for this project? What skills do you want to develop or refine? How about some expectations? What do we expect of one another in regard to attendance, meetings, participation, frequency of communication, the quality of work, policies and procedures? This is important. What kind of rules can we agree on to help each other meet our goals and expectations? And lastly, what are the consequences? What are you going to do? How are you guys going to deal with somebody who's not living up to their expectations or not fulfilling the requirements that you guys have set? So I want you all to agree on these things together. Make sure everyone's on board, and then we're going to print these out next week and you're going to sign it. Okay? The purpose of this is to help you guys come up with ways to hold each other accountable for this work. We don't want only one person doing this whole project. That's just not fair. Okay? So you're going to do the same thing with this. Make a copy. Once you make a copy, move it to your folder, entitle it Team Contract, and put your team name, and just make sure that it lives in your research paper folder. Okay? So I have my pre-writing. I need to make sure I have the contract there. Other than that, you can go back, look over the articles if you want. You can start kind of collecting some notes and evidence to help get you prepared for writing, and you can be also making up anything that you've missed. If you have any questions about the first research paper and the first steps, please post them to the forum here and I'll answer you back. And I think that about sums it up for this next week. Great work today, everybody. And as always, send me an email if you have any questions. Take care.